Thank you. Man in Mingus Mood. And while we make a change in our bass player, Jeff, there's so much I can say about Frank. Did you want to say something first? Well, you're actually the right person to be here. So, 1978, somewhere in early March, I ended up being in a house in New Haven, Connecticut with a 6-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 1.5-year-old who was screaming for his life. How did this happen? So what happened was I had become good friends with two sets of people. One was David Mott and Jeannie Mott, who were the leaders. David was the leader of the Yale Jazz Ensemble, of which I was a member, and Frank was, and Jeff, and Kent. And I knew Frank, and I knew Geetha. Now, Anand was born in India, and your mom stayed there for a few months with you. Your dad was there, but then he came back home. And as is apparently the tradition, you never left your mother's side for about 1.5 years. And Geetha was getting tired, and she needed a break. Now, I happen to come from a family of 4 children and foster children, and I was the oldest, so I was the babysitter. And I was already babysitting my friends, the Mott's kids, who were the 6-year-old and the 3-year-old, who happened to live across the street from me. And so, and I'd already done that successfully, so they all cooked up an idea, the parents, to let's go to a concert and give Geetha a night out. So they went to a concert at a local hall called Sprague Hall. And the pivotal point of the story is that when they decided to leave, it's like, how do we leave and what do we say to Anand or not? And so we all made a group decision, the 5 supposed adults of us, and said, how about you guys sneak out the back door and we don't say anything to Anand and I'll keep him occupied for 2 hours. Well, after about 20 minutes, the fun wore off, and Mama, 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 and he wouldn't stop for about a half hour, so I had to call the police. It was the campus police of Yale, and I called them up and I explained as quickly and completely the situation, and you have to go to Sprague Hall, you have to find this couple, there's this bald guy with a red beard, short little blonde woman, and there's a guy from North Carolina with a funny accent with big dark glasses, and a woman from India. You have to find them now and tell them to come home. And they did. And that's how I bonded with the Bennetts, honestly. I was good friends with them to some extent, but after that, everything changed. And we really became a family. We really did. And I ended up going to what your dad particularly taught me. He was as we've heard already, he was a curious fellow. He really wanted to soak it all in. What do you say about a guy who told me that he never knew what a pizza was, let alone have eaten it until he was 20 years old? And he's the guy who taught me about world cuisine, ultimately. So Frank and Geetha put on house parties, house concerts, with the food, which was always a potluck and was amazing, and somewhat at my own peril, because there was a lot of hot chili peppers where I had to leave the room for a half hour once in a while. But we all developed a great relationship, and the food was very, very important, as somebody said earlier. I also learned to cook Chinese food from the Motts. So I had this great cultural thing based on food that I learned that has really shaped my life. And I want to read, I know time's running, but I want to read one thing if I can figure out where I put it. There was one of our fellow students named Mike Tenzer. You know Mike. And Mike wanted to be here. He lives up in Vancouver, Canada, and actually he's in Italy now doing a lecture or something as a teacher. But when I told him about Frank's passing, he wrote this. Okay. It says, "Goodbye, dear Frank. I feel as if I owe you everything. You set me on my life path, 100%. As a clueless 17-year-old freshman, you took me to a house concert of Chic Chinnamolana on Nagas Farm and blew my mind permanently and totally. That's only the very beginning of the memories," he says to me now. "I love that man. As you put it, Brad, a mix of humility and towering musicianship, a model for how to be, but hard to achieve." And that's just one of many people whose life Frank changed. And what I have learned as I've contemplated my relationship with Frank and your mom, Geetha, over these last few months since he died, I think obviously of his towering musicianship, but more his curiosity, his ability to learn and soak in so many things, but the most important part is that he listened to all of that stuff and then he shared it with everybody and anybody he could. And that is the spirit, I realize, of why Frank was a great, great person. There's plenty of great musicians, but there's not many as kind, humble, and giving. He really didn't care about the trappings of life as he cared about the gift of human interaction. And I could go on, but I won't. But anyway, I wanted to tell you how happy I am you're with us, and you are certainly the beneficiary of your mom and dad, as has been said already. And thank you for putting this on and having us. And what can I say? Yes.
Thank you. I'm honored. I'm humbled and honored to be part of this and that legacy. And everyone speaking so kindly of my parents is really something. I will try to do the same for people. We're going to continue on with our. I just want to bring Graham to the stage if we could. Graham is a wonderful guitar player. Brad's son happens to be Brad's son, and we're going to have him play on the rest of the.
Well, actually, we've got one more before Graham. That's okay.
Okay, no, okay, we're gonna wait. Yeah, he's gonna come up with the next one. I was gonna throw some music in front of him, but Brad says don't do that. So okay. So you guys, this is Manchester Evening, and this is also written around 1975, something around that time. There's a wealth of tunes, and I'm really glad to share these tunes with people. They're really, I've always, even if he wasn't my dad, I would still love these songs. I think they're very great, so I'm proud to present them. And you guys are going to go ahead with, this is Manchester Evening.
we are going to finish with a tune that I arranged called Strolling Along. It's a Jackie Byard tune. I heard this when I was in college at Yale. It was on an LP featuring the composer Jackie Byard on piano, and I don't remember the bass player. The saxophone player was Joe Farrell, and the drummer particularly was Alan Dawson. Now, Alan Dawson was one of the great jazz drummers of all time, and Frank studied with him. And he was a long line of amazing people who have studied and learned from Alan Dawson. So we thought this was an appropriate way to end the evening. And this is Strolling Along. I may add that we have our third bass player of the evening. This is Chuck Nineker. Chuck is also a charter member of this group, and there's only 3 of us left who are the originals, and it's good to have you. Yeah. And I guess that's it. You ready? Okay. Oh, gosh. I knew somebody would say, this guy here I know fairly well. I've known him all of his life. This is Graham. And I think, so you guys, you're going to play a chorus each and then trade some 8s and 4s and 2s. This is a rehearsal, okay? I'll sort of point at, why don't you, I'll point to you first, and I'll point when it's time, okay? All right. All right. Yikes. Here we go. Yes. No, that's we're just playing straight through. Yeah, no, it's just that's the short version. Rehearsal. Ready? Yeah. 1, 2. 1, 2.
much for being here. You want? I would like to say a very big thank you to the Eagle Rock Baptist Church and all of the wonderful people. Hortensia, Juan, Eli, Matt Westman did such a beautiful job. Everyone, thank you so much for everything. Brad, thank you so much. Busha, Reka, Aloka, Madhu, everyone who played. Indu, thank you so much. Sky, so beautiful. I'm very honored. This has been a great day for me, one of the best ever, and I will remember it always. Thank you for being here. Thank you. Thank you. Have a safe drive. Thank you for being here.
Mm-hmm.